الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على مولانا رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters, this is lesson number 1 of our commentary on مختصر الأخضري. المختصر الأخضري is a small or a summarized booklet that gives us the primary information about the Maliki jurisprudence. So it's a primary book that people start when they want to study Maliki jurisprudence. And it's written by a scholar from Algeria now called Sheikh Abu Zayd Abdul Rahman ibn Muhammad al-Saghir al-Akhdari. And this Sheikh was very famous in the 10th Hijri century. This book, I love to teach it, and I taught it several times. And more than that, I wrote a commentary on it in Arabic, and it's translated to English. And it would be available, inshallah, in few months, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. So, the main idea of this small booklet, it's an introduction to the Maliki school. So it gives an introduction to morals, manners, main Islamic creed without going deep. And after that, it starts with main things that you need in purification. And then it goes on speaking about prayer. What are the pillars of prayer? What are the obligatory actions of prayer? What are the sunnah? What are the virtues and stuff like that? But the main thing of this book is speaking about how to do if you forget something in your prayer. So therefore, our scholars wrote a lots of books compiling the Maliki jurisprudence. But every book has something that it's specified in, which means that we have some books that were very genius in some chapters that others didn't do the same. For example, when we speak about Hajj, we like to speak about Ibn Ashir, because Ibn Ashir actually wrote his book or his poem when he was going to Hajj. So he started with the book of Hajj, and then he completed the other chapters. Al-Akhdari focused on how to prepare or how to fix your prayer if you forget something. Ibn Abi Zayd al-Qayrawani rahimahullah showed you how to worship, how to pray, how to do all other things. So prayer, he focused on prayer a lot. That's why maybe half of the book is prayer. And then the other chapters speak about other things. Al-Bashar speaks about Ashalul Masalik, is very good in speaking about family law, marriage, and all things that have to do with marriage and divorce and stuff like that. Okay, Khalil is actually the top, and he's if you study Khalil, that's it. You studied the last thing that you can study in the Maliki school. So that's why scholars like to start with Ibn Ashir, with Al-Akhdari. And it's the way to study when you want to start studying Maliki jurisprudence. So when you want to study Maliki fiqh, you don't go and jump to Risala or jump to something else. No. You start with Al-Akhdari and then you study something else until you reach to uh, the big books, actually. I added something that wasn't studied in most of the Maliki schools in North Africa and Africa, in West Africa and Arabia and other places, which is the book of Al-Waghlisiyya, the introduction, Al-Waghlisiyya, because it's very good to be studied, especially to the beginners. And there is something very important in the Maliki books that they focus on creed, jurisprudence, and morals and manners. So you find that most of the Maliki books have these three things in them. They might start with creed and then end with morals and manners, or they make the morals and manners and creed in the end of the book, which they call it Kitab al-Jami'. And this is nearly in all of the Maliki books. So you study all these three things in the same time. And that's what Imam al-Akhdari did. Who is Imam al-Akhdari? How did he live? Where was he exactly? This is what we are going to study today, inshallah. And you're going to get so surprised when you know that Al-Akhdari, when he wrote most of his work, he was still a young man. And some say that actually he passed away very young. So Al-Akhdari is Abu Zayd Abd al-Rahman ibn Muhammad al-Saghir ibn Muhammad ibn Amir Al-Akhdari Al-Sulami Al-Baskari. He's called Al-Akhdari, referred to a tribe, an Arabic tribe, that refers to Al-Akhdar ibn Amir ibn Riyah. This tribe is an Arabic tribe that came from Arabia a long time ago and settled in North Africa. But Al-Akhdari doesn't agree about this. He says, no, I'm not from Banu Riyah. I'm not from this tribe. I'm from Banu Sulaym. Banu Sulaym and Banu Riyah are two tribes that came from Arabia. They are cousins. But Banu Sulaym, there are some of them that are referred to Al-Abbas ibn Mirdas al-Sulami. Al-Abbas ibn Mirdas al-Sulami was a Sahabi of the Prophet ﷺ, and he was the leader of Banu Sulaym. This tribe, when they converted to Islam, he was the leader that came and gave the pledge to the Prophet ﷺ, and he was the leader of his tribe. So, Al-Akhdari, rahimahullah, says that we are originally from Al-Abbas ibn Mirdas al-Sulami. We are from the descendants of Al-Abbas ibn Mirdas al-Sulami. That's what he said in one of his books. And Abbas ibn Mirdas al-Sulami was a poet, and he converted to Islam before the conquer of Mecca by few time. And he participated with the Prophet ﷺ when they conquered Mecca and Hunayn. He was a good poet, and he was brave in his battles and stuff like that. He passed away in the year 18 Hijri. So he's the grandfather of this tribe. And Sheikh Al-Akhdari is from a city called Biskra. It's northern Algeria. It's very famous in the mountains of Al-Awras. And he is exactly from a village there called Bintayus. bin Tayyus. That's the city of Sheikh Abdurrahman al-Akhdari. They call him Abu Zayd. It's not because he had a son called Zayd, but because mostly anybody called Abdurrahman, they call him Abu Zayd. And this is very famous in the latest Arabic culture, that every name has its own kunya. So Muhammad Abu Abdullah, Abdullah Abu Muhammad, Al-Hasan Abu Ali, or Abu Muhammad, Al-Hussein Abu Ali, or Abu Ammar Abu Yasir, Yasir Abu Ammar. And that's it. Abdul Aziz Abu Faris, Yusuf Abu Jamal, or sometimes Abu Hajjaj. And that's how it goes. So they have these names that have their kunya. Unless the one has his own kunya that he wants. He doesn't want this kunya. But the one that doesn't have any kunya, they just call him with these types of kunya that I just mentioned right now. So actually, Al-Imam Al-Akhdari was one of the famous scholars of the 10th Hijri century. He was born in Bin Tayyus, which is one of the villages of Biskra. And it's said that he was born in 918 Hijri. 918. Some say 919. It's not a big deal. 1 year. In the ancient days, they didn't used to take care of these types of dates, because when you get born, you're not famous. When you become famous, you go searching for the year that your birthday. You go searching for it. Okay? So therefore, this is the year that he was born in, as most scholars say. Most historians that spoke about his life, they said that he was born in 1990, which is in the Gregorian calendar, 1514, in the Common Era, 1514. Okay? So therefore, this is what scholars say. Some said that he was born in 920. It's not a big deal, because that's not a big deal, actually. The 2 years, 1 year, it's not a big deal. He was born in a very pious family. His father was a scholar, and he was a righteous, pious person. And his family inherited knowledge for centuries. So they were a family of knowledge. His grandfather was a jurist and a mufti, and he built a zawiya. A zawiya means a school, masjid school, that they teach and they welcome people in. It's referred to the Sufis, usually they call zawiya. But in the ancient days, they used to worship in it. They used to pray. They used to feed people. It was like a school. His father was a good, righteous guy there too. He was a scholar as well. And he was so upset about the situation that people were in that era. People were far from Islam. They used to have a lot of bad habits and stuff like that. So he tried his best to reform, to preach, to call people to follow Islam. He had a brother called Ahmed, and he was an ascetic, very pious, very righteous person. So, of course, Ahmed is the uncle of his uncle, or his father, actually. Ahmed is maybe his elder brother. So he was influenced with this environment, and he grew as a pious person, as a righteous person, searching for knowledge as his ancestors did. So therefore, his the environment that he grew in put its it 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 showed, it made the personality of Imam al-Akhdari. So therefore, he grew as a pious person, memorized the Quran, studied knowledge, and searched or sought for knowledge. So he grew in this era and this environment, searching for knowledge and studying. And therefore, later on, he was actually one of the scholars that worked hard to change the situation of his environments. He was an ascetic. He was a great scholar in all branches of knowledge, and he started writing books that were not books just to read, books to study. Most of his books were poems. And until now, most of his books are studied everywhere in the Islamic states. You can find his books studied from Morocco until India, in all branches of knowledge. Subhanallah al-Azim. This is very interesting. So let us see, how did he live? What did he do? And Imam al-Akhdari was mentioned about as alim, salih, zahid, wari'. Alim, scholar, salih, righteous, zahid, ascetic, wari', somebody who fears Allah. And therefore, he wasn't from those scholars that just have a lot of knowledge and that's it. No, he was one of those scholars that practiced what they studied. So he used to practice what he studies, and what he teaches. He used to have his dhikr. He used to do dhikr a lot. He used to pray a lot. He used to fast. He used to do all these types of things. And he was very curious about his time. So therefore, he used to advise his students and his children to take care of their time. Don't lose your time. He was very smart and clever. And he had a strong memory. So that's why he used to memorize things very strong. And he was very knowledgeable. And that's why scholars say he was considered as an encyclopedial scholar. I don't know if this word is proper to say, but I just translated it from an Arabic word, كان عالما موسوعيا. He was, which means that he's not a scholar only in a chapter or a specific type of knowledge. No, he is in all types of knowledge. He used to be strong in all types of knowledge. And that's since he was still young. So he started writing when he was in the beginning, in the early 20s. In the early 20s, he started writing poems that summarize knowledge. And therefore, all scholars, when they spoke about him, they praised him. They said, this guy is a genius. This guy is a great guy. Muhammad ibn Muhammad Makhlouf, who wrote a book which mentions the Malikis, which is called Shajaratun Nur al-Zakiyya fi Tabaqat al-Malikiyya, he praised him a lot. He says he's faqih, allama, which means he's a great, knowledgeable jurist, and he is a righteous person, and he used to know a lots of types of knowledge, not only one knowledge, no, lots of knowledge. And that's how many scholars were in our Islamic era. So this is what all scholars that spoke about about him said, this is what they said. And then they said that he passed away in a place called Kajjal, and then they took him to his city, Bin Tayus, where he was where he was uh, where where was his last where was his grave, rahimahullah. He was buried there in that place. Yes. What happened? He just got sick. He went to a place just to have some good time there, but so sorry that he got sick and he passed away. And when he was dying, his students went there and he advised them to take him back to his village, and that's what they did. They took him back to his village, and he was his grave was near his grandfather's grave and his father's grave. His grandfather Muhammad Amir and his father Muhammad Saghir and his brother Ahmed. So that's where he was. His grave was, rahimahullah. And there's a lot to say about his age. Some said that he was he passed away in the year 983, and some said no, he died in 953. No, so there's a big time between 983 and 953. It's a long time. So it's nearly 30 years. Subhanallah al-Azim. And therefore, many scholars discussed about this. Many scholars discussed about that. They said, well, he was in the year so-and-so. It's not in the year so-and-so. And I read this and I read this. Wallahu alam, what is exactly the opinion? But there is an evidence that proves that he passed away in the year 983, not 53, which what he said in the end of one of his poems. وكان في محرم الحرام بدء وختمنا لذا النظام في عام 81 سنة من بعد 900 مستحسنة. So he says that in the month of Muharram I started this poem and I ended it, and that was in the year 981. 81. So therefore, this proves that he passed away in the year 983. SubhanAllah. And there's another poem that he proves that, and he says that he ended it in the year 982. So this is actually a strong proof. This is a strong proof. So this is so strange, subhanAllah, that you would find a scholar, a great scholar, and then you don't know exactly when was he born and when did he die? When did he die? And actually, he was famous in his life. Where were his? It's not only 2 years, 3 years of the death. It's 30 years. SubhanAllah, this is so strange. So anyway, Sheikh Abdurrahman al-Akhdari started seeking knowledge by memorizing the Quran, and that's how everybody used to do in the old days. In the Islamic schools, people used to start memorizing the Quran. So you can't find somebody who is knowledgeable without memorizing the Quran. Everybody memorizes the Quran. So he started memorizing the Quran by his father and his brother, and he started studying with the primary studies with the scholars that were in his city. So he focused on Arabic and Islamic knowledge and logical knowledge, which they used to study in those areas. Used to study logic. They used to study lots of. They used to study mathematics and stuff like that. They used to focus on these types of things, and they used to study astronomy. Yeah, all these types of things. And he was strong in all these types of branches of knowledge. So, therefore, when he was still young, he was 20 years old. He wrote a poem about astronomy, and he wrote a poem about mathematics and how to calculate heritage law, heritage law, and then he wrote his very famous poem about logic, Sulam al Munawraq. It's very famous. He wrote it when he was nearly 21 years old, 21 years old, and he said it in the poem that I'm. Forgive me, he says, excuse me if you find any mistake in this poem because I was 21 years old when I wrote it. SubhanAllah. He traveled several places to meet scholars, to see them, to seek knowledge from them. So therefore, he went to other villages, cities in Algeria. He reached to Qsantina, which is in the east, in the east of Algeria right now. Don't forget that this was in the Ottoman era, so he was part of the Ottoman Empire in this era. So these places were under the authority of the Ottomans, actually, and so therefore he studied there. He started giving Jumu'ah speeches and started giving lessons and lectures and teaching people, especially in the Zawiya of his father and grandfather. So he started teaching all these branches of knowledge there so that people can get the knowledge, yeah. And his school or his Zawiya was very respected in that era by the authorities, the Ottoman authorities, because look, Algeria was it was independent, but under the Ottoman authority. And the leader of it was called a Dey. Tunisia was the same, but the leader was called Al Bey. That's how and Tripoli had another leader called, he has a name, and that's how Ottoman Empire divided its uh, its states. That's how they divided their states. Yeah. He traveled to Tunisia. He went to Tunisia, and his father sent him to the Zaytuna school, the Zaytuna University, to seek more knowledge, because it was like, if you were going to speak about Al-Azhar in Egypt or Al-Qarawiyyin in Morocco, Tunisia is the Zaytuna, Jami' al-Zaytuna is the great Jami' of North Africa after these two great schools, or great universities, actually. He had a lot of teachers, like his father, Muhammad Saghir, which he studied a lot of books on him, and his brother, Ahmed ibn Muhammad Saghir, and a great scholar called Abu Abdullah Muhammad Ali al-Kharroubi al-Tarabulsi. He's originally from Tripoli, but he was in Algeria. So he was a great scholar there in Algeria. Of course, as I told you, all this was one land under the Ottoman authorities. So Tripoli, Algeria, Tunisia, it was one land. Then the enemies, when they invaded it, they started dividing it. France took some pieces here, Italy took some pieces, and then they divided our lands, and they called these so and so, these guys so and so, and we believed that. We believed that, and we started working on that. So sorry. So there were, had a scholar called Abu Hafs Umar al-Kammad al-Qsantini. He's called al-Wazan. Uh, he studied, something, and then he had a lot of students. When he started teaching, he started having a lots of students, uh, and these students, we don't know all of them now, but we know three of them. We have Abu Faris Abdul Aziz bin Ahmed Al Farisi, and we have others that that commented on some of his books, especially this book, like Al Mirdasi, if I can, and others. So he wrote. I'll mention his name later. He wrote several poems or several books, but the scholars that wrote his biography said most of his books, so sorry, got lost, got burnt. There was a great disaster that happened and burnt most of his books. So, from the books that we have right now is his commentary on Al-Aqidah Sanusiya. Sanusiya is a famous creed, Ash'ari creed, written by Sheikh Muhammad ibn Yusuf Sanusi from Tlemcen, and it was very famous in North Africa. So they used to study their creed by studying this Sanusiya. So he has a commentary on it. It's still not published. Then he has a poem called Al-Faridatul Gharra. It's in the Sunni creed. Usually it's Ash'ari creed, of course. And then he has this introduction to Maliki jurisprudence, which is very famous, and you can find it, and it's actually part of the program of studying in all Algeria and Shangit and all the Grand Sahara. People focus on it and start studying by it. And now it became, wherever you go, it became famous again because it has a lot of commentaries on it. So, or it has very famous commentaries, and some commentaries was just were published recently. So people start taking care of this book. It's not a poem; it's a book. He has a book called الدرة البيضاء في أحسن الفنون والأشياء, which is a poem in 510 lines. He wrote it when he was 21 years old, and it's all in heritage law and calculus, and how to count and stuff like that, which is mathematics and stuff like that. And it's very famous in his place that people used to study it. People used to take care of it and study it a lot. He has a poem. He has a commentary on it. He commented on it, and he has a poem called, or a book called Al-Qudsiyya. He wrote it when he was 24 years old. It's in nearly 400 lines. Nearly 400 lines. It's in morals and manners. It's morals and manners, and he condemned a lot these liars that claim that they are teachers of Sufism and stuff like that. So he was very harsh on these guys. He considered them as liars, as people who trick others by claiming that they're religious and stuff like that. And he condemned them a lot in his poem. So it's a very interesting poem in reforming and cleaning Islam from all innovations. He has another one called Az-Zahratu Saniya, or Az-Zahratu Sunniya. He has another one called. He has another one in nearly 250 lies in the same idea, morals and manners, stuff like that, teaching how to be good and uh, how to be pious and stuff like that. He has another one where he praises the beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and another one in praising the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he has another one advising the youth. The youth. And he has one very important, and you can find commentaries on it, and it's widespread in the world. It's called Al-Jawhar al-Maknoon fi Thalathati Funun in Arabic metaphor and stuff like that. Had the beauty of language, how to use these types of things. It's very interesting. And he wrote it when he was 30 years old, and it's very famous. You can find it wherever you go. You can find commentaries on it. He wrote a commentary on it. It's published too. So he wrote the poem and the commentary on it. And then he has another one where he made a poem on an Ajrumiyya in Arabic grammar. Another one he wrote a poem on grammar too, by taking the meanings of a book, very famous book called Mughni al-Labib by Ibn Hisham al-Ansari, and he made it as a poem. And he has As-Sullam al-Munawraq, which is in logic. It's in logic. He wrote it when he was 21 years old. And he wrote a commentary on it as well. He has another poem called As-Siraj in astrology. Not astrology? Yeah, in astrology. He was 19 years old when he wrote it. Another one, أزهر المطالب في هيئة الأفلاك والكواكب in the same thing, which he wrote how to count they used to use something called Storlab, which shows them the ways north, west, east, and how to see the stars and know where you are exactly, and all these types of things. It's very important. It's a very important knowledge, and they used to count the beginning and the ending of the months, solar and lunic months and stuff like that. So it has to do with the stars and all these types of things. It's astrology, right? That's why you call it astrology. So this is the idea of this. This is the life of Imam Sheikh Al-Akhdari. He has his book Mukhtasar Al-Akhdari was famous, and there are lots of works on it. And several scholars wrote commentaries on it. And the first one was by his students, his direct students. His direct students are the ones that wrote on it. So there are lots of commentaries on this book of Al-Akhdari, but the two main books of Mukhtasar Al-Akhdari are the commentary of, because there are sometimes you have some books that all other scholars take from it. So we have this commentary is written by his students. It's written by his students, which is Muhammad ibn Abdul Rahman al-Maskari. Muhammad ibn Abdul Rahman al-Mu'askari. And then it's called Sharh Mukhtasar al-Akhdari fi al-Ibadat. It's published recently in these days. And you have another one by famous Shangiti scholar, a famous Shangiti scholar. And there is one called Ad-Durar fi Sharh al-Mukhtasar, very important, by Sheikh al-Faggoun, very famous Algerian scholar. And then you have a famous one called Hidayat Muta'abbid Salik by Sheikh Salih ibn Abd Sami' al-Abi al-Azhari, who wrote commentaries on all main Maliki books. But so sorry we don't know his life. Who was he? Where he was in Egypt. He's from Azhar, and he passed away last century. But no one knows anything about him. And there's one very important called Minahul Ali fi Sharh Kitab al-Akhdari by Sheikh Muhammad ibn Muhammad Salim al-Majlisi al-Shangiti. Very famous, very famous. It's written by a Shangiti scholar. A long time ago, I saw another poem, not a poem, another commentary written by a sheikh, one of the Nigerian scholars, and he wrote it by mentioning the evidence of the book. It's called حل المسائل في شرح مختصر الأخضري بالدلائل by الشيخ الحاج سعيد بن عمر جيلا توري الفوتي. This book is good. It's not bad. But as I told you, two books are the famous books. The one by Muhammad Salim al-Majlisi, and the one written by the students of Imam al-Akhdari. I think this is enough for today. Thank you very much being patient with me. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.